is telling the story of how the fish went into the sea. And he said, that was awesome. قال ذلك ما كنا نبغي فارتدا على آثارهما قصصا. And then they traced back their footprints or their route, go back to the very spot. And at that particular junction, suddenly we see the role of his father disappears. One of the lessons is here also. For some reason, it is important when we are leaders, we have our followers. Sometimes when leaders go through training, it should not be witnessed by the followers, so that they can have the space to learn and to be corrected without hesitation. So Musa alayhi salam, and then he met Khidr here. قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا. They met this person. Musa said to him, may I follow you so that I can teach, so that you can teach me some of the right guidance you have been taught, some of the knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught you. And we expect in that story, if anyone comes to learn, we should celebrate and immediately bring them in. Mari ada pengajian, don't go away, stay, don't fall asleep, listen, that kind of stuff. But what Khidr said to Musa alayhi salam was surprising. He said, قال إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. He said, this module, this class is top tier. You are not going to be able to handle this lesson. As if he's saying that you are not qualified to be in this program. You know, Muktamar, go first, learn something else. That kind of stuff. So Musa said, if us, we might say that, okay, that, whatever, kajiannya susah, kitabnya berat, it's complicated book, so I don't want to learn. But Musa
it with Khidr and asked him, I really want to learn from you. And Khidr said, وَكَيْفَ نَصْبِرُ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُخِطْ بِهِ خُبْرًا. And how could you be patient in matters beyond your knowledge? And then from here on, Musa made a pledge. He said that قَالَ سَتَجِدُنِي إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ صَابِرًا وَلَا أَعْصِي لَكَ أَمْرًا. He said, God willing, inshallah, you will find me patient. I will not disobey you in any way. So this is the agreement made, and then they start the journey. And the first, there is 3 points in this journey, and Prophet ﷺ said, how may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon Musa. If he could handle his patience, we could have learned even more things from this story. But we only get 3 wisdom from this story. So number 1, فَانْطَلَقَ حَتَّى إِذَا رَكِبَ فِي السَّفِينَةِ خَرَقَهَا. They wanted to cross a sea. They were finding ship, and one of the ship belonged to a very poor fisherman. They give them a ride, free ride. You don't have to pay anything. So Musa followed. Khidr took the ride. And when they about to get to the other side of the shore, Khidr alayhi salam took his axe and he break some part of the ship, which made that ship not be able to be used. It's under maintenance, it's repaired. And Musa alayhi salam, if we read about Musa alayhi salam from his early life, he is someone with a strong character that cannot tolerate injustices. He just cannot. If he sees any kind of injustices, he will immediately do things to stop. So here what he did, قَالَ أَخْرَقْتَهَا لِتُغْرِقَ أَهْلَهَا لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا إِمْرًا. He said, these people just gave us like a free ride, and you damaged their ship. This is, what a strange thing to do, he said. What kind of module is this? What kind of syllabus? What I'm learning here? So Khidr alayhi salam said, قَالَ أَلَمْ أَكُلْ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Did I not tell you that you would not be able to handle this? So Musa was reminded of his pledge, and he said, قَالَ لَا تُؤَاخِذْنِي بِمَا نَسِيتُ وَلَا تُرْهِقْنِي مِنْ أَمْرِي أُسْرًا. He said, okay, I'm sorry. Give me another chance. Let's continue the lesson. Immediately after they came down from the ship, he saw a boy that is playing, innocent boy playing, and Khidr alayhi salam went and suddenly just killed that boy. So the lesson is getting even harder. Just now it's just about the ship, and he even can't process what was that? And now suddenly he killed that boy. قال ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. And then again, when Musa alayhi salam burst, he said, فانطلق حتى إذا لقي غلاما فقتله قال أقتلت نفسا زكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا. He said, what a terrible thing to do. And then again, Khidr said, I told you, you're not going to be able to handle this. And Musa alayhi salam at this point made a promise and a condition upon himself. This is the part when Prophet ﷺ said, if Musa did not make this condition, we could have learned even further from the story. قال إن سألتك عن شيء بعدها فلا تصاحبني قد بلغت من لدني عذرا. And then he put a condition upon himself. I'm sorry, if I asked again for the next time, you can call me off. You can fire me, that I'm done. And then they went to a city, a small qarya, a village. When they get there, people are not generous. They were stingy. They don't even offer them a cup of water. They were hungry, imagine. Do you remember, did Musa manage to get his lunch? No, he missed his lunch and he is going through a torture of learning things he doesn't understand. And suddenly he saw Khidr went to a wall and fixed the wall. And he worked with Khidr alayhi salam, expecting maybe we will get paid, and then we can buy some food, and then we can eat. But he saw Khidr fix the wall and just walked away. And he thought, we could have asked for a payment, and that would be normal, right? And Khidr alayhi salam said, okay, we are done. This is the promise that you made. But before we depart, let me explain what happened. So number one, about the ship, there was a king that is coming from far behind that will confiscate all the ships that can be used for war. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided, because of this particular ship, this poor fisherman shown generosity with whatever they have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used that generosity to protect them. When the king came, they took every other ship except their ship. So it was a small calamity to protect from a bigger one. So that is actually what's being told here, which is actually, if we look into the life of Musa alayhi salam, he was put on the sea or on the river like the ship was put on the river, and that reminded Musa alayhi salam of his journey in that particular story. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala test his mother and test his family with calamity to protect them from even a bigger calamity. So be generous with whatever we have. Like yesterday, Ustaz Das'at told us about infaq. Some of us have money, be generous with money. Some of us, money is our problem. We have a lot of time, not because we are unemployed, but we have so much time. We have some other skills. We are good at listening. We are good in terms of our strength. Use whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us to be generous. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect us with our generosity. Number two, when they went and then they helped and then they killed this boy, mu'minain, they were pious believers. They make dua for their kids, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to protect them. They took away that kid because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that this kid, when he or she grew up, will become a tyrant. So that is a very traumatic experience for any parents to lose a child. But there is something even more traumatic than that when the child grew up and hurt them terribly. That's number two. So, and then the story does just not conclude there, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said, Khidr alayhi salam said, Allah will replace with something better. So there is a famous quote from a scholar named Ibn Qayyim. He said, whenever Allah takes something that we really value in our hands, He is emptying our hands for the next gift, a better one, a bigger one, a more valuable one. And the final story was, it's also related to a righteous father who left some wealth, but of course we can imagine they are orphaned. Their mother could have made a lot of dua so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped them with wealth and whatnot, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has His timing. Things happen according to His schedule, even though the wealth is almost being exposed, but Allah sent some strangers from a far away place to come and preserve that, because that is not the right timing for you to get what you are asking for. So the entire story is actually telling us, be resilient through faith. And one incident happened, Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, when Musa alayhi salam and Khidir was riding on that ship, they saw a small bird with his beak take some drops of water in the sea. And then Khidir asked Musa alayhi salam, do you see that bird? What do you think? That small drops of water has diminished from the ocean? How much it has diminished from the ocean? Musa alayhi salam said, no, of course nothing. It's almost insignificant, the drops that being taken out from that vast ocean. So Khidir alayhi salam told Musa alayhi salam, my knowledge combined to your knowledge is like that small drop of water that does not diminish anything from the ocean of knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. So this story is one of, the entire story is about understanding and trying to find meaning behind things that we do not understand. And while we are here, I think we saw some footage about a flight crash in Kazakhstan, right? And there are many other stories. So I always being reminded, sometimes we save up money, we value, we book a vacation, and then we go to the airport, and suddenly, due to some reason, we miss the boarding time. And then all those thousands of money is being wasted from our perspective. We will be angry, and we will be asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what sin did I do? What kind of bad things that I did that you test me like this? And imagine, and this is a real story, happened in Malaysia. You guys probably heard that there is a flight that is still missing, that couldn't be located, MH370. So one guy was on his way to the airport. His car gets stuck in the traffic and some problem. He missed that flight. He was frustrated at the airport. He tried to plead to the staff so that he can get to the flight. He went home, sad, until after several hours, he read the news that that flight is missing. So can you see the change of his feeling from maybe he was angry, maybe he was frustrated, to ultimate gratitude and shukr. So that is pretty much a lesson from this story, that we always trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knowledge. We always have a good opinion about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I conclude with this hadith. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this is hadith kursi, hence the wording is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Ana inda dhanni abdi bih. I am with the opinion of my slave upon me. If they think good about me, they will experience good thing. If they have bad opinions about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will experience bad things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us go through whatever challenges that we have, no matter how confusing, no matter how difficult to process the loss, the failure, the fall that we are going through. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use these stories of the Quran. And this surah is to be recited every single week. And Prophet ﷺ said, this surah will act like a light from this Friday to the next. And we recite that surah again, it will become a light from that Friday to the next. And this is also the surah that is being advised to be read to protect us from the biggest ever test that all prophets have reminded their people, is the test of Antichrist or Dajjal. Wa sallallahu ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.